we always like to make sure that retail investors receive an opportunity to invest on exactly the same basis as the institutional investors who contributed towards the placing that we closed last week. So very heartening to see that degree of enthusiasm for the company's mission.
Hello, you're watching Proactive. Joining me is Graham Purdy, CEO of Ilika. Graham, very good to speak with you. You raised more than expected in your recent fundraising. We chatted about it last Friday. Strong demand for the retail offer as well, which must be heartening.
Yeah, absolutely, Stephen. Great to speak again. Retail investors are really important to Ilika. They make up a substantial part of our investor base. And whenever we raise money, we always like to make sure that retail investors receive an opportunity to invest on exactly the same basis as the institutional investors who contributed towards the placing that we closed last week. So very heartening to see that degree of enthusiasm for the company's mission.
Well, remind us again what they're investing in and what these funds are targeted at.
Well, it's very straightforward. We've got two product lines, both solid state batteries. On the one hand, we've got our Stereax batteries, which are miniature batteries for active implantable medical devices and wireless sensors for specialist applications like Internet of Things. And then on the other hand, we've got our large format Goliath batteries for EVs, so electric vehicles, and also for consumer appliances. Now, the funds are effectively split about 1/3 towards Stereax and 2/3 towards Goliath. With Stereax, we're right in the middle of a tech transfer to Cirtec Medical, which is our US manufacturing partner. And the funds are going to help us support the remaining parts of that tech transfer. And we've got some testing and validation of the Stereax product before it gets released through to customers for them to use. And of course, some customer support because, when the customers get those batteries, we want to make sure that they get the best out of the product and integrate them as effectively as possible in their own product lines. And then on the Goliath side, we're in the middle of that prototype design and build program that we've talked about on a few occasions over the last year or so. The next major milestone there is going to be the release of our P1.5 10 amp hour prototypes. As you know, we've already had some of those made at our facility, and we're testing batches at the minute, ready for their release later in the summer. We've got some testing equipment purchasing to follow through on, because as we get closer to market, closer to customer adoption of this product, actually the amount of data that we need to generate to characterize the batteries increases. We've got to carry out that test program and then, as in the case of Stereax, engage with customers and support them.
Graham, so it looks like a busy period ahead, and I'm sure you'll keep us updated with the news flow as it comes.
I look forward to that very much, Stephen, and great to speak to you again today.
And to you, Graham Purdy, CEO of Ilika.